welcome back. Thank you for joining me on another day of Vlogmas. Or, Vlogmas, whatever. I'm still just, trying over here. But I don't know what day Vlogmas this is. Currently, it's the first day of Vlogmas when I'm filming this. And Benjamin turns a month old tomorrow, but he turned 8 weeks old on Monday, which was a few days ago. So I'm gonna say that this is his 2-month update and my 2-month postpartum update. So this is the official update. Benjamin's doing great. We just had his 2-month pediatrician appointment the other day, and it went really well. He had to get 3 shots and 1 oral vaccine, so that wasn't fun, but he did really well. Of course he cried, obviously he's a baby, but he stopped crying pretty quickly afterwards and has been handling it really well. He has had to have a little bit of Tylenol, but Alexander was the same way, and we mostly just give him Tylenol the day of, just to kind of help just make them feel better, even if they're not actively having a fever or anything like that. And then the next day we'll kind of play it by ear. If they seem like they need some, we'll give them some as well the next day, and then usually they're fine by that. Today he's been totally fine. Yesterday he only did Tylenol right before bed in the evening, and the day before he had 2 doses of Tylenol right after and then at bedtime. So, and that typically seems to be what works for us and for our boys. So yeah, so doctor's appointment went well. He is 10 pounds 8 ounces, and he's kind of on the smaller side. His height is in the 30-something percentile, and his weight is 30, or not 30, I'm so sorry. His weight is 13, and it dropped significantly from the last visit where he was in the 30-something percentile. So I think it went from 34% in the weight to 13% in the weight. He hasn't lost weight at all, and that's why they're not super concerned as of right now. He just is gaining it at a slower rate than he was when we saw them a month ago. So we have to kind of just really make sure we are feeding on time and not going too long at nighttime. She said as long as I'm not going 3 hours during the day without feeding him and 5 hours at night, then we should be good. And then they want us to come in for a weight check in 2 to 3 weeks to see how the progress is going. We definitely went through this with Alexander, and it was really difficult and heartbreaking for me. We had to end up supplementing with formula, which is totally fine. I have no problem with that. It's just hard when you want one thing and it doesn't work out that way. That's all it is. So, and then by 5.5, almost 6 months, he was completely on bottle on formula because my supply just couldn't keep up at all. So I'm hoping that it's not the same with Benjamin. I feel like it's been going a lot better. I just hope that it stays that way. And I am the super lucky person to where I got my period back at 5.5 weeks. I got it back at 6 weeks with Alexander and 5.5 weeks with Benjamin. So that definitely plays a role in the supply. Usually your supply will have a dip in it whenever you are on your period, and I started mine at 5.5 weeks, and I'm about to start it again, even though I've only been off of it for less than 2 weeks because it lasted. I had a 2-week period, and then I'm about to start it again. So all those hormones regulating, fun times. It's a mess. But so that is, I'm trying to say all the time. It's not going well, as you can see. I need to stop saying but and I really need to stop saying those all the time. But see. Anyways, he's doing really well. Other than that, he's sleeping really great. He's taking a nap currently right now, and he's been sleeping for about an hour. about an hour and a half and he's still asleep. He has stirred a couple times but has gone back to sleep. So he's still good for another like 40 minutes or so before he has to eat. So I think that we're good for now. He is doing really well in the sleeping department. He goes to bed roughly, this is like a rough estimate, okay? Not every single day looks like this. We have our harder days, you know, but even our hard days with him have been pretty good. So I just got lucky and blessed with 2 wonderful boys. I don't mean that as like braggy, but like I just blessed. Just we got lucky, we were blessed. Truly, just they are both so wonderful. That doesn't mean that we don't have our hard days. We definitely have our hard days. But a like rough estimate of what his like schedule looks like is we're usually up, he wakes up usually anywhere between like 6 and 7, and then I can usually get him back down for about like a really quick like 45-minute nap, and then we're usually up by 8:30 at the latest. And that's not him sleeping that whole time, just like that's when I like get up out of bed, start getting Alexander up, you know. Benjamin is usually like either in his bassinet asleep, or he'll kind of like go off and on being asleep, or I'll get him out and like kind of just like cuddle him a little bit before I fully get up and get Alexander up. But usually by like 8 o'clock, 8:30 we're up, no later than that usually. And that's only because of like the time change. It used to be earlier, and now the time change has made it to where it's kind of sat around like 8:30. Then after we get up, we, you know, we'll just kind of hang out, have breakfast, eat. He usually goes down anywhere between then to like 11 o'clock. His wake windows are definitely longer than they should be for like a like typical 8-week-old. They're definitely longer. He just, that's what he wants. I can't force him to sleep. Trust me, I wish I could. But usually by 11 o'clock, if not earlier, he's without a doubt ready for a nap. So he goes down for a morning nap. And then while he's napping, I can get Alexander lunch and then lay him down for a nap. And then usually by the time Alexander is laying down for a nap, Benjamin usually wakes up. Unless I get a lucky day like today where he decides that he's gonna sleep a little bit longer, which is fantastic. So I actually got to take a shower, as you can see, and I can sit down and film this without him, which I will include him when he wakes up. Trust me, don't worry, you will not go without seeing him for this update, I promise. So he, and then so he'll have his morning nap, and then he'll wake up, and then the afternoon, it really is like, it just depends. Sometimes he'll only be awake for an hour and then want to go back to sleep. Sometimes it'll be like a couple of hours. So we'll have an afternoon nap. I don't really have like a good time frame for that. I'd say usually 2 o'clock, we'll say around 2 o'clock, even though I'm really not sure. That also starts getting like the pretty hectic part of the day. The afternoons are definitely more hectic than the mornings for us around here. We have more tantrums from Alexander in the afternoons, especially if he doesn't lay down and take a nap. So I'd say maybe around like 2 o'clock he'll go down and take like a little nap, and then he'll get up, and then around anywhere between like 4 and 5 o'clock he'll take another nap, and then he'll be up, depending on how long that nap is, he'll usually be up from until bedtime around like 7:30, because we lay Alexander down for bed at 7:30, sometimes 8 o'clock. It just kind of depends on what we're doing. Also keep in mind that if we go anywhere, Benjamin lately, not all the time, but recently has been just sleeping in the car. So also, like, if we go anywhere, the car ride, he's usually taking another nap, so you have to account for that as well. And we usually go somewhere, not every single day, but most days we usually go somewhere. I usually have to go to the store or run an errand, or while I'm still off of work, we're trying to utilize that time to see like family, like go to my dad's house, my sister's house, stuff like that, just to kind of visit while we can. And I can get like a little help while we're there while we can. But it's also really good for Alexander to get out of the house. He definitely does so much better when we get out of the house for, even if it's just for like a little errand and then come right back home. He does so much better during the day when we can just go and do something. So I definitely try to do that as much as I can, as long as, you know, I'm willing and able and we have something to do. And that'll bring us up to bedtime. So like I said, Alexander lays down at 7:30, around 7:30, give or take, depending on how the day goes. If he has absolutely no nap whatsoever and he is cranky town, then he'll lay down a little bit closer to 7:15. But usually 7:30 is Alexander's bedtime, and he's still doing phenomenal with that. He'll lay right down to bed, fall asleep sometimes within like a few minutes. Sometimes it takes him a little while to fall asleep, but he doesn't scream or cry. He'll just kind of lay there, suck his thumb, roll around, maybe play with his blankets or something, and then he'll just go right to sleep. And then he sleeps all throughout the night, and if he wakes up, he usually goes right back to sleep, unless he like has a nightmare or something like that, which that's only happened a couple of times, whether it be like actual like nightmare, or we think that he might have had some like tummy issues and he's like woke up like scream crying, then we'll obviously go in there. But if he just like wakes up because he's coughing or just has to like reposition himself, he usually goes like right back to sleep. I don't even think he like fully wakes up, and he's just kind of moving around. And then so he's been a wonderful sleeper for a while now. We are extremely thankful, and we are just hoping and praying that Benjamin is the same way, and we can get him like on a good consistent schedule, and he will also be a good sleeper. Don't know what's going on with my voice, sorry. I probably just need to get some water. Drink your water. This is your water reminder. Go get a drink of water, not soda or coffee. Water. Go drink your water. Thank you. So we'll put Alexander down for bed at 7:30, and then after he's in bed, that's when I'll start working on Benjamin. Benjamin is in this time is usually hanging out with Dad, or like just kind of sitting in his chair or looking at, you know, something that I have like set up for him. But usually he's spending time with Dad, because Dad doesn't get home until like 6:30 after work, so he doesn't have like a whole lot of time with the boys after he gets home from work, which is sad. But he'll kind of just hang out with Dad while I put Alexander down, and then I'll start working on him. So after Alexander goes down, we will do pajamas, diaper changes, get him all swaddled, wrap up in blankets, and then I'll bring him out to the living room, turn off just the main light that I have here. If the TV's on, we'll keep it on, or if the kitchen light's on, we'll keep it on. So it's definitely not dark, and it's definitely not quiet. I like to do it out in the living room because there's still like some noise. Obviously not like huge, loud, banging, crazy noises, but like there's some noise. I think I've said before that like we really try our best to make sure that our boys, our kids, can go to sleep with some light and with some noise going on, and like stay asleep during that. And so far it's really worked out with Alexander. That boy can basically sleep through anything. I have had to go into his room a couple of times to get things, and him just not wake up at all. And his door is really loud. Like his door is like kind of like broken, I guess. Like I said before, we rent, so it's like not my problem. It's always been like that. It's just, it's not quiet to open. You can't like quietly sneak in there. Anyways, so it's worked really well for Alexander so far, so we're hoping that it carries over and sticks with Benjamin, and so far it's going really well. I will nurse him to sleep out here on the couch, and then go lay him down in his bassinet in our room. And sometimes it's like flawless, seamless. He falls asleep out here, he stays asleep during the transfer, and then he stays asleep for good, like for that sleep period. And other times it's not like that at all. He either won't fall asleep while nursing, or he'll fall asleep while nursing and then wake up, and then I have to pacify him like with his actual pacifier, or bring him back out and breastfeed some more until he falls asleep or gets more settled, or actually go into our room in the bed where it's a little bit darker, a little bit quieter, still not silent, still not pitch black, but just a little bit more, and then like kind of have to feed him and rest him from there. And then, you know, it's just, sometimes it's a process. For sure. I mean, he's only a little baby still, so sometimes it is a process, sometimes it is super smooth and simple. But usually he's down and asleep by like 8:30 at the latest, usually. Some nights we've had where he doesn't get laid down until after 10 o'clock. But that's not the normal, at least not as of right now. We'll see how that 4-month sleep progression goes. We'll see. Hopefully not that bad. Alexander's, I recall, wasn't that bad, I don't think. I hope I'm not remembering that wrong. So that is basically like our routine with him. I'm hoping one of these days my camera stopped recording. My camera will only record for like 16.5 minutes at a time. Is anyone else's like that? I don't know if that's like a normal camera thing or if it's because I got my camera used. It's probably just normal. I don't know. Anyways. So that's like our little like nighttime routine. During like Vlogmas, I do definitely plan on like showing the actual nighttime routine. I really want to do a nighttime routine with me, morning routine. I really want to show you my pumping routine. So I'll probably do that, like, I don't know if I'll do that in its own video or in the like nighttime routine. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But that's just kind of like a little update on the boys. If I can think of anything, I'll include it in here at like a later date. But that's basically all I can think of. And he's still asleep, thank goodness. As far as my recovery is going, I feel like it's going really well. Definitely so much better and so much smoother than what I've heard and seen and everything like that, but it has been more difficult than Alexander's. If you didn't see my like labor story, I had to get an episiotomy, which is an incision made so that he could make his way into this world a little smoother because he was getting stuck. And it was very necessary that that had to happen. The doctor waited as long as he could, but Benjamin's heart rate was dropping pretty rapidly while pushing, so we had to get him out like quicker than, you know, we didn't have a whole lot of time to just kind of like sit and like see if he'll make his way out because he was getting stuck on just like a little like flap of skin. So sorry. So definitely it was necessary. It was not an unnecessary procedure. It was necessary for his safety, but unfortunately that means that recovery has been a little harder on me, a little bit more rough, but still not as bad as I was expecting. I was actually expecting it to be a lot more difficult, and now it's just everything is still very tender and very sore, and like if there's any kind of added pressure, if I like sit a certain way or like sit on the toilet or anything like that and all that pressure gets put on everything, it definitely still hurts a lot. So there's that, but I don't really have a whole lot of swelling that I'm aware of. Other than that, I'm getting around really well. Obviously, like my core is also still very much recovering. Still like I have to like gain all of that like core muscle back, but I don't have any like ab separation that I know of. I don't have any like abdominal pain, except for if I am like carrying around one of the kids while walking around for too long, I will start getting like sore and like just like a little like sore and painful, but once I like sit down for like a few minutes, it usually goes away pretty quickly. So as long as I don't overdo it drastically, I am pretty good. Things down there are still healing. It's gonna take a lot longer than it did last time because of that episiotomy, which I knew was gonna be the case. But other than that, everything's going pretty well. I don't have postpartum hair loss yet, but with Alexander, it didn't kick in until about 6 months postpartum, which is usually what I have heard is when women will usually start seeing it kind of start going away. That's when I first get it. So the first 6 months are great, and then around 6 months I start losing all of my hair. So that'll be fun. Yeah, but I guess I'll just wait until he wakes up from nap and I'll show you guys him in a little bit. Oh, he's also 23¼ inches long. So he was born at 21¼ and now he's 23¼ So he's gained 2 inches, and he was born at 9 pounds even. dropped down to 8 pounds 4 ounces, I believe it was his lowest, and now he's back up to 10 pounds 8 ounces. So like I said, he's on the smaller side for weight, but he's doing really well for height. The pediatrician actually said that, like, oh, he's gonna tower over his brother, but Alexander was the exact same way. When he was this little, his height was like off, like really high in the like percentages. He was like in the 60 something percentage for height, and then as he got older it kind of just like settled down, and now he's like in the 30 something percent for height. So we'll see if Benjamin follows in that trend, or if he really will be a lot taller than his brother. Who knows? Not really, no way of knowing until they grow up, which I have no problem waiting for. They can take their time doing that. I love these boys more than anything, and they are tiring and exhausting, but I love them, and I really do try to appreciate these moments, because like they say, the days are long but the years are short, and Alexander's only just over 1.5 years, but it is absolutely true and correct. So I guess I'll get off of here. I'll go ahead and sign off now, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another day of Vlogmas. So see you guys tomorrow. Bye. So it's been about 10 minutes since that last clip where I said goodbye, and someone woke up from a nap. So I know that I've, said him or shown him and everything on the channel before, but here's his official introduction. This is Benjamin. Say hello. We have Benjamin Martin here. And like I said, he's 10 pounds, 8 ounces, 23 inches and a quarter long. And fantastic. And still pretty sleepy because he just woke up. I don't know how to do this, but like here's like, he looks huge. He's really tiny. He's still really tiny, I promise, but he looks so big in the camera. He's doing pretty good with holding his head up. He can like pick it up and move it from side to side. Obviously he doesn't have a ton of neck strength yet, but he's working on it. Yeah. And overall he's just doing really well, and we love him. I love this boy so much. Yeah, he's doing great. So I guess that's all for now. So glad that you guys came to officially meet Benjamin, and to hear about how he's doing, how we're all doing. We are adjusting to life with 2 children. It is pretty dang difficult. It is more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be hard though. Like, I didn't think it was going to be easy, but it's mentally more than I thought it was going to be. I knew it was going to be like physically challenging, but it's more mentally challenging than I was anticipating, and then physically challenging on top of that. But I feel like we're really starting to settle into life with 2 kids and 2 young kids. And we're starting to find our new normal, which has been really nice. So obviously we love our boys as much as we possibly humanly can, and then some. We would do anything for them, and we love them so very much. Now I gotta get off of here and I gotta go feed this guy because he's starting to get hungry. All right, again, thank you so much for joining us and coming along and doing Vlogmas with us this year. First ever Vlogmas. I hope I'm doing okay for the first one. And we'll see you guys later.